Okay, I just recorded a whole thing and I didn't push record on this mic. Welcome to my channel. I'm still trying to recover from doing that 10-15 minute rant and then not having good audio. Okay, here we are. I wanted to get on here to share some of my learnings as a newbie YouTuber for almost 2 months. Wait, okay, let me take that back. Technically, it's not exactly 2 months because my very first video was only like about less than 3 weeks ago, like July 30th. That was my very first video on here. So, but to my mind, it was a lot longer. That's actually, by the way, something that's very typical of ADHD folks is that time for us is greatly shortened. When we have an idea, we suddenly get into hyperfocus and then we make it happen. And it's like we have the thought and suddenly we're in it and the thing already happened. Just so you know. But for neurotypicals, it's like they have a thought and then they plan it and they like do it. And then, they have a healthy, normal concept of time, but I don't. So to me, it feels like a lot longer. But in the past 3 weeks of being on YouTube and putting out about 5 videos, I just want to share a couple of observations. One, why being a designer is so hard getting on YouTube, because being a designer is the antithesis of getting on YouTube. Because as a designer, you are taught to be a perfectionist. I mean, that is the job. The things you do have ramifications if you're wrong. So when you get to my level of having 20 something years of experience in design, whether it's industrial design or graphic design, I do both, you have to execute flawlessly on many levels. But being on YouTube is a whole nother ballgame because you can't show up perfectly. I feel like the more I get into YouTube, it's really about connection. And people want to see you just being you, being human, being messy, and like learning. So that perfectionism is really hard to break. Like, for example, just for me to do this video where my plan was to just get on here and blab for a little bit. Like, it took me 30 minutes just to fumble around with this mic because I couldn't stand how this DJI mic, when it's flipped, it has this logo on there. So I had to find something and it has this like the inverse of it. And then I was going to use like some other object to like, hold it up. So it's interesting. It's like a whole thing. Anyway, so, but at some point you just have to get over it. And it's not going to be perfect. I know when I look back on a bunch of my videos, like I see how, the music's not great, or like the chops are really crude. But hey, you know what? Cool. That's where I was. That was the best I could do at the time. I could noodle around for 3 months on that video. But you know what? I just rather put in my reps and like put it on the web and just like move on with my life. So hopefully this will be my 6th video. So that's something that's really difficult to break because intrinsically as a designer, I want things perfectly, and that's just not going to happen. Oh, my light died. Okay, great. Some areas I'm really having trouble with is storytelling and the technical aspects of it, and then lighting. These are the 3 things that I am still fumbling my way through. I think my last video, the one about how AI can never replace human creativity, I think that was the first time I had a good story arc that was kind of clear, that just like has a completed loop. But whereas before it was just me rambling or whatever. So I'm still learning about this stuff. I mean, and also, all the videos I've been watching, a bunch of filmmakers that are seasoned, like they also struggle with storytelling. I don't want to be one of those people put up videos that just has like aesthetic stuff and then just really no content. I don't want to have just fast food content. I don't know. I like to create things with a purpose. It's the same question I ask myself when I'm designing a physical product. Like, does this have a reason to exist? And I'm trying to apply that to also my videos. So storytelling, that's something I'm still finding challenging. So, but I'm working on it. Technical aspects. Oh my God, this is so unreal. Things like the mic, which one do I want to use? I have too many options. I have like cameras. I have a Sony ZV-E 10 Mark II, and I have my iPhone. I was going to use Osmo Nano, but that thing keeps overheating on me, so I'm just like, F it. So I'm just keeping it simple. But then I got this gimbal. It's the DJI Pocket 8P. It has the detachable remote control. That learning curve is steep. So I'm still working on it. Like, me and my husband, we sat in front of the TV watching YouTube tutorial. We can't just like, what? But I'm learning all my tools. So getting there. The third part is really, really challenging, is the lighting. Unbelievable. So I am trying to have good lighting. So I'm experimenting that. I actually just had a light that just died like in the first 5 minutes of video, because I did a whole video before this and then realized I didn't actually hit record on my mic. Anyways. So the technical stuff, I am still struggling through my equipment, but slowly but surely. The other thing is, I think what adds to the technical difficulty is that I'm a designer. I have bougie taste. I like things aesthetic. So when I see some of the other filmmakers making like very cinematic shots, I'm like, oh, what's that? I want to learn that. And that requires a tremendous amount of knowledge of lighting and equipment and the technical aspects of it to like really dial that in. And I became infatuated with these macro shots. I don't know. I really want to do a storytelling with macro shots. I think that's really interesting. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to give that a try. But anyways, yeah, these are the things that is all kind of converging, and I don't know what it is that I want to do with it, but I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah, the other thing about storytelling that's really hard is that because I'm ADHD, I tend to go off on tangents. Like, I have a thought, and then sometimes I don't complete them. If we were talking in person, you hopefully would be like, oh, wait, what did you mean by that? Or like, bring me back to my original point. But because I'm talking to a black hole, that is the camera, I really have to work hard to dial it in and not go off on tangents. So that's another part about ADHD's storytelling, and also just me speaking directly to a camera. Yeah. Now, all of this said, there is one thing that's gotten easier, which is when I hit record, my mind doesn't freeze anymore. Like, I used to, as soon as I hit record, I just kind of go blank, and I would have trouble figuring out what to say. But now I hit record, I'm just like blabbing and saying what I want to say, whether it's the camera or my phone. Like, cool. So, all right, some progress there. Another positive thing, and this is huge, is I've had this shift in mindset. I really didn't see this coming. When I got on YouTube, I was like, I have to get 1,000 followers. I have to have 4,000 watch hours. I need to get all the subscribers I can get. Like, I was just like, oh, how am I going to get this? And it's like, there's just so much pressure. And I was like, I just have to do this. And then I realized that becoming successful on YouTube is like building a business. And I've been doing that for the last 18 years. And drawing a parallel to that, if you've built something that's successful, that usually means you've created a process, and you have a system, and you have people around you, and you have created an entity, and you have also created a role for yourself where people know what they need from you and what they expect from you and what you're expected to deliver. On YouTube, I'm a newbie, and no one is watching. And that is actually kind of amazing because I can be weird, I can be goofy, I can be terrible, and I can experiment. And that's actually really exciting to me. I didn't realize that because as a creative, if I have the freedom to make whatever I want, that rejuvenates me. That makes me so happy. And that is at the core of like who I am, what's important to me, and how I move in this world. And with my current company, it's a mature company. So there's less of that. So for me now on YouTube, I can do whatever I want and there's no expectations. And it's just so exciting that I can wake up and try something on the weekends so that I can just see if I like it, if I like what I'm putting out in the world, like, and I'm learning new things. So I'm actually reveling in this kind of freedom. So that's my learnings so far. And maybe this is helpful to you. All right, that's it for me. Over and out.